it is certainly not clear that the ball hit the ground, nor even really that he lost control. I guess, Shime, you've made that point. And furthermore, interesting point by Mike Florio, our buddy Curtis, on ProFootballTalk.com. If you showed this play to 50 people in a bar, would they agree as to whether the ball struck the ground or moved sufficiently enough to make it not a catch? Probably not, right? Probably it'd be split. And you have to have clear and obvious standard to overturn it, as you pointed out earlier. And Mike suggests that you could also have arguably given the Patriots the ball on 4th and goal at the 1, that maybe it wasn't a touchdown, but it's not clear and obvious that it wasn't a catch, that his hand was under it. He did have the grab and just didn't break the plane with control. He had it and was down.
Ken, we talked about the Jesse James touchdown in the 6 o'clock hour. Nobody, at least speaking for my circle, nobody watching that game said, oh, they got to review that. That's not a touchdown. It was, oh, man, that's over. The Patriots lost. Last night, instead of what Florio said, 50 people at a bar, would they agree, was there a single bar in America that watched that play live and the first replay that said, that's coming back? Being honest, did anybody see that play saying they need to look at that, I think that's going to be overturned?
No, right, because you played football your whole life growing up. That's a touchdown. In the backyard, that's a catch.
And this is
you
what
move
I'm
on,
talking
and everybody's happy with it.
Right, and this is what I'm talking about with replay. It was designed to fix clear wrongs, not create things that didn't exist.
Right.
And it's just, especially with the pervasive sports gambling across this country and having it being legalized everywhere, things like this are massive. I mean, I don't know what the line, if that had impacted the line. I'm sure it did. The Patriots were underdogs, I think. So, I mean,
was it 3.5, Sean?
No, the line was 2.5.
2.5.
Probably ultimately didn't, as long as one team won by a field goal. As long as Minnesota would have won by a field goal.
It's just the most enraging thing because, it's hard enough to win and hard enough to score in the NFL. You do everything right, and Hunter Henry makes a great play, gets in the end zone, and out of the blue, and then you have these members of Al Jazeera for the NFL coming on saying, clear and complete pass. What?
Right.
Clear to who?
Right. And not to mention there's several calls in the game that went against New England. I mean, they got one or two, but Mac got tripped on that sack by Danielle Hunter at the end of the game. No call there. He definitely stuck the leg out.
Didn't they also miss a face mask on Mac?
The previous series he got face masked, no call. Those are both third downs back to back. So I can understand you're a Pats fan watching that game. You're thinking, these officials are in the bag for the Vikings.
Yeah, the officials clearly aren't the number one reason you lost. Are they a contributing factor? Absolutely. But, again, you unfortunately couldn't pound it in 3 times in the red zone, even though it was really only technically 1. And then the defense just wasn't good enough against that Minnesota offense.
617-779-7937. Bill in Newton here on the Greg Hill Morning Show. Hi, Bill.
Yeah, look, Florio is 100% right. There's no doubt, like Curtis said, his hand was under, but it's 100% clear based on NFL rules that after the ball bounces up, it's not a completed catch until he's on the ground and corrals it. It's 4th down from the half-yard line, and there's no doubt in my mind Bill's taking the lead in the points there. So I don't know what everybody's crying about. It's the exact same result that would have happened.
You don't think he goes for it on 4th down from the 1?
Absolutely not a chance in hell.
I don't know.
He's taking the lead right there. All right, listen, that's not why I called. It was about Mac. And everybody's, oh, we're back. Mac is back. Listen, you got to give Mac credit. He did what he was supposed to do against statistically the worst passing defense in the league last night. There's nobody worse in the NFL, and they're even worse now because they are hurt. But Mac did a nice job. He lit them up like Kyler Murray did, like Jalen Hurts did, like Andy Dalton did, which brings me to my last point. That's who Mac is. Mac is Andy Dalton. He's good enough to do what he did last night against horrible teams. He still makes dumb decisions like he did on that freaking slide in the middle of the field with only one timeout left. Are you kidding me? But he's able to light up bad teams. But again, shut out in the 4th quarter last night, crappy in the red zone. I don't think this guy is ever going to be good enough to win a Super Bowl, but he's good enough to get you 10 wins, maybe win a division if Buffalo stinks it out, and maybe make the playoffs, but that's about as good as it's going to get with this guy. Have a great holiday, boys.
All right, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. I totally disagree in that I've sort of come to understand in a more balanced way the way the NFL works today on offense. And unless you have Brady in his prime, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, one of those guys right now. You need a great scheme, and you need to have talented players in the skill position spots. It's pretty simple.
I.e. San Francisco is the perfect example of that.
Exactly. If you put Mac Jones in San Francisco and Jimmy G here, do you think that Jimmy G all of a sudden would continue this run he's been on with 4 or 5 touchdowns a game, no interceptions? And do you think Mac would be underwater on touchdown-interception ratio? Of course not. This offense has been created almost like it's designed to make things more difficult for the quarterback instead of the other way around.
Well, that's why it's so frustrating to see them succeed last night in a way, because the O-line played better. But did they really play better, or did Patricia just finally call a quick passing game that works for this offense with Mac?
Well, and also they weren't going against the best defensive line in the NFL. I mean, that's really the biggest difference.
But who's their big pass rusher they shut out?
Danielle Hunter?
No.
Preston Smith?
No, Zadarius.
Zadarius
Smith. I mean, he had bupkis last night, so they schemed him pretty well. Vikings they have some pass rush. I mean, they had none last night.
Yeah, not against the Cowboys the week before, not against the Patriots last night.
Patricia should have been calling games like this for weeks, though. You do wonder if it's too little too late for this year to salvage.
There's also a commonality to when the Patriots offense has looked better and when it has looked worse. And I like the guy, so I don't mean to besmirch his name a little bit, but when Damian Harris isn't in the game, the offense just looks better. Because Rhamondre Stevenson had 9 catches last night. He's an exceptional checkdown option because he's unbelievable at getting yards after the catch. After contact, making guys miss, he is fantastic. And so he wasn't successful at running the football all that well, but when Mac Jones is swinging it out to him left and right, in open space, the guy's great. He's going to get you 4 more yards than it looks like he's going to get you. There's 3 defenders there. Doesn't matter. 3-yard gain. Like, that's... I think one of the benefits of having Rhamondre in 3 downs is that whether it's first, second, or third down, Mac always has that option of just tossing it out to Rhamondre and letting him do the work.
Well, you get your wish because Harris is going to be out for a while, it looks like.
Probably.
Right? With that thigh issue, whatever he had going on there. But speaking of Stevenson, Curtis, how about the gushing of the 3 broadcast bozos on – well, I guess this was relayed from Bill. I mean, maybe they relayed the story correctly, but did Bill really compare his progress to Brady and LT?
I mean, I would say it's pretty clear the 2 best players that Belichick's ever coached would be Lawrence Taylor and Tom Brady. And every week now, the broadcast crew says in their meeting with Bill, he was, whatever, he gushed about Rhamondre Stevenson. Literally, every time they talk about the production meeting with Bill Belichick, they say this. And then last night, I almost did a double take. So you're saying he's going to be better than what? Walter Payton? Because if you're going to talk about the running back class comparing Brady and LT.
Here's the audio from NBC.
Rhamondre Stevenson, nice run to the 36-yard line. We're talking about Belichick, guys. How effusive was he in praising the running back Stevenson?
It was incredible. I mean, he went on and on and on, and Coach doesn't speak a whole lot in those production meetings, but he probably talked about Rhamondre for 15 minutes, and he compared his growth and his development in a short period of time to both Tom Brady and to Lawrence Taylor.
We all kind of glanced at each other, and it was not the ability of the player down line, the growth, though. So impressive.
That is amazing. I mean, I guess Bill's got nothing else good to talk about with the offense going into the game, so he's going to talk as long as he can about Rhamondre, but still.
You can't talk about, I don't know, James White or Kevin Falk or Shane Vereen. You go to Lawrence Taylor and Tom Brady.